begin by saying that while the negative states that the government doesn't have the ability to solve a problem created by the government, this is what congressional amendments are for. They're specifically used to mend any kind of situation that founding fathers failed to address 200 years ago, including any kind of exclusion. Our opponents say that they are not focused on black. It's a generalization. They generalize us. They argue that our plan is formulated through the eyes of a white middle-aged male. Judge, I'm a teenage female. Through my eyes, I don't see black and white. I see, oh, that's a good critique. I see the advantages that our people nowadays, no matter what ethnicity, no matter what skin color, no matter where they came from, can have. Speaking of K's, this is a horrible K, if you even call it that. It has no links, no internal links, no links to our affirmative, no impacts, no solvency, no alternative, no explanation of how any kind of alt that they could possibly provide, which they didn't solve. They argue that the USFG opens many doors for whites in their Macintosh 88 card, but they neglect to address certain programs implemented by the USFG that open doors for all individuals. An example, the Educational Opportunity Fund program. It's funded by the USFG, and it gives disadvantaged students of all ethnicities and nationalities the opportunity to attend colleges and universities that they otherwise wouldn't be able to attend. So that makes their Macintosh 88 card irrelevant, hence it shouldn't be waiting this round. Next, they seem to not understand that a disad and a K is completely different from an off case, and they mentioned that we had a disad in that our affirmative actually has a disad in itself when it doesn't. And they also focus on their Shaw 4 card states that focus on policymaking is racist. What about the 17th Amendment? That's not racist in any which way. It gave African Americans the right to vote. Next also, their Mills 98 card that states that the constant exclusion of black people, that it promotes anti-black language. But it clearly doesn't, because I've read cards in my 2 and 2AC stating that language is all in the perception of how we see it. Next, Judge, I'd like to also state that this round needs to be weighed with all of our Spice and Liable 3 cards regarding why policy debate is good, the purpose of policy debate, and education. And it should be carried, the weight of all 3 of these cards should be carried out throughout the entirety of this round with full impacts. To reiterate what my partner said, their analytics do not carry the same impact that our evidence does. So their analytics in regards to the entirety of our affirmative case should be wholly disregarded. The rehashed generic framework K ran by the negative team is completely abusive in itself to any affirmative that it's ran against, ours included. We as the affirmative are here to solve the harms and prevent the impacts that we have stated time and time again that are running our world to not only extinction, but also to the bigger impact of dehumanization, as stated by our Bureau 97 card. So that card gets extended across the globe. That is precisely what the negative is stopping. Judge, how many people are going to die as they sit here generically arguing about the exclusion of blackness when our plan, through the powers of fiat, we can walk through that door and just stop all the harms, stop all the advantages that we've stated throughout this entire case, we can solve for it. As my partner previously stated, the world today is anti-Middle Eastern, not anti-blackness, no matter what the negative team tries to say. My opponents say that blackness is not discussed in debate. However, we've now fully gone through a round in which, while it's not the primary issue, it has been debated, thus making their entire argument a moot point. The advantages and the substantial evidence that we present to support them have been constantly the advantages and the substantial evidence that we have to support them, they've been constantly misinterpreted by our opponents. Because if they clearly read and understood the cards that we presented to back up our advantages, they would understand that they do not stem from the oppression or exclusion of blacks. We were talking about people in the Middle East. We were talking about our soldiers. And that includes soldiers who, by their theory, would be excluded from blackness. They asked to extend the card that states that the advantages we present cannot be extended because of the opposition from their affirmative K. However, because they do not in any way, shape, or form link to our case or our plan, there's no substantial reasoning or supporting evidence as to why the exclusion of blackness should be weighed in any way throughout this debate. Judge, the only sensible way to vote here is to vote affirmative. We've presented with you advantages, harms, and impacts that our world today cannot afford to go through. This isn't about the exclusion of oppression of certain people. This is about saving people's lives. Because that as the affirmative, that's what we're here to do. And the only way that you can save lives here is by implementing our plan. Because the moment you walk through that door, you can save the life of one person. And if that's all you save, realistically, we expect to save more people with that. But if that's all you save, that's more than enough, and our job as the affirmative has been done. Our framework arguments against their K outweigh all the analytics and everything that they've read for their K. And since they never fully touched upon any of our cards specifically on any of our 3 advantages, then they get extended throughout the entirety of this round with the full impact and weight of all of them. So Judge, as a final statement, the only way you can vote here is affirmative. It'll save the lives of people you care about, people we care about, people we haven't even met, but it doesn't matter, because as the affirmative, it's our job to save those lives and make the world just a smidge better. Because we have the moral imperative as the United States of America to do so.